People of the country once claimed as a corporation via Vatican slavery systems, wake up. It is time to recognize that your rights have not been taken. You just keep granting them away by using a legal title, copyrighted name to identify yourself through. This gives an assignment of your consent to all Vatican structures of man-made definitions. You add then to the administration of the law, birthing and giving CPR, civil procedure rules, life, making them applicable to you in administrative code jurisdiction. It is not about someone giving you your rights. They are and always have been there. You just need to restore yourself to them, and we have a process to help you do this. Universal Law Community Trust is a structure that is free for you to use, to do what we allowed a government to exist and was created for, to discharge charges of a commercial system and fundamentally discharging the commercial system as a whole. We have our own currency, which keeps you in the private, making any business a private affair. This is called kindness credits. It stops you funding and supporting the Central European banking system and fiat currency procedures, which are there to enslave us all. You take back and assign your share of this rock instead of giving it away and then buying it back as a privilege. We used their administrative code against them, making them your debtors in exactly the same way that they had implied that you owed them. You are now their secured party creditors, and it is not about you then laying a claim against a company that you are secured party to. It is about you assigning the liabilities that you would have continued to credit and compound your own slavery through and discharge all charges accordingly, becoming the equivalent of the official receiver of your own liabilities, making you as a community self-governing and independent. Instead, it's up to you now. Do you wait for someone else to do it for you so that you have a new version of the same slavery? Or do you come on over here and ask us, what is this? What is this Universal Law Community Trust? The group of people who have set a precedence in the Queen's Bench on the 10th of June this year to get Justice Stein to stamp a document to state that coronavirus cannot be used as valid grounds or cause for unlawful incarceration. Our legal title, Minister Ven, which you do all have the right of use of. You are the minister of your own energy and matter in movement, and don't ever diminish yourself to be anything less than that. Is an account, a title, a legal fiction that this system of the administrative code cannot utilize to initiate administrative charges and fees. Why? Because it does not belong to them. You are using a legal fiction, copyrighted logo that you think is your name. If you do not have the right of use of something and you use it, you all know that that is theft and fraud, twocking in the least, taking something without consent. So ask yourself this, people, did you create the legal name? The answer to that, of course, is no, you did not. Someone took your given name, fixed a contract with it, and you've been saying that that is you all your life. You have been consistently coerced into committing fraud upon your soul, granting away your share of this planet and its resources, and breathing life and crediting this capitalizing of our rights in our community for profit. All of that was secured on the 25th of February, 2020. 13 days later, the system collapsed because we are the secured party creditors of Her Majesty's government. The amount of debt that they have incurred over the unlawful trespass and implied jurisdiction over the rights of the mines and the equitable rights of the people over the last 5.5 years accumulated a debt of over 47 quadrillion slave tokens. In exchange for the debt, as we do not accept slavery as a method of being able to do a clean exchange between one another, we use the rock. Which rock? Planet Earth. Planet Earth as the rock dissected into commodities, resources, periousia, equity, then carved up on the stock exchange as commodities. That is your share of this rock that has been used to persecute you through. We have been fed a complete bullshit belief mechanism that you have to ask permission to sustain you and your family, while scrabbling around, exchanging your energy, supporting your own terrorists, and wondering, how was it that I ended up in this situation? Well, you need to take a long, hard look at yourselves, people. Every single one of us is directly responsible for the communities that we see around us. Our greed, our indifference, our fear and our hate is really the debt that Universal Law Community Trust discharges. We do this in 10 easy steps. You go on to the website, universallawcommunitytrust.com. You assign your consent back to yourself, and you never, ever give it away to anybody ever again. In doing this process, you reserve all of your rights, and if any agent of the administrative system want to attempt to coerce you into commerce by forcing you to identify yourself, which is statutory rape, this message is to all of the policy enforcers. You are impersonating police officers. You are coercing people to commit fraud every time you ask them to identify themselves as a Vatican debt slave. They do not have the right of use of the legal fiction that you are coercing them to use in order for the system to be able to recognize those beings now as Vatican debt slaves. And then the irony is that you are there to persecute and prosecute them for profit, for the breaking of universal law, by coercing them to diminish themselves and grant away their universal rights. And it is you who are the criminals. As Minister MFN 010, and with all of the assignment of consent of over 22 million living, breathing beings, I issue a warrant and on behalf of all of the people and the beings in our community that we do not accept people who are implying to uphold the law to be the very ones to support the breaking of it any longer. I have, with all of the authority and the assignment of consent that has been granted unto me for me to act on their behalf, I hereby grant warrant to every single minister of their own energy and matter in movement in the vicinity of this recording to go and arrest anybody who you see impersonating a police officer. There is a structure based on the order that we received from Justice Stein from the 10th of June that is publicly noted, that no charge can be attached to Minister MFN in any litigation because it is an unalienable account. That means that you can reserve your rights to uphold the law free from fear of any persecution The worst thing that can happen to you if you go and arrest a police officer in England and Wales today is that we will serve a habeas corpus for you. You will be released between 3 to 28 days, and you will have a receipt to say that I, as Minister Emma Venn, am unrecognisable in a system of fraud. That, people, is how you restore your rights. That means that you can then use all of the material that we've given freely in exchange for 5 hours a week of your time. You can go and support your family with organic food practices, with access to your resources freely, by directing and investing your universal share into organisations created by your own community, so that the water is clean, the food is organic, and the energy is free. www.universallawcommunitytrust.com is where you will find us. YouTube of the same name, and also Emma Venn channel. And also on Facebook, you'll find us in the Universal Law Community Trust. You'll also see coverage on a observation decks channel regarding us preventing the dissolution of UK Government Limited on the 21st of December last year, which was suspended until the 21st of June this year, hoping that it would give you enough time to wake up and realise that it is you who keep giving your rights away. It's not about coming and demanding and protesting and saying, give me my rights back. Take this material, go to the ports. Justice Stein has said that COVID cannot be used. It is not valid for grounds to claim that you are unlawfully incarcerated, or you can be unlawfully incarcerated with such a claim. Go to the ports, go to the nursing homes where these people are being held hostage. Serve this on the people who are unlawfully incarcerated in these prisons. Even if you're released from prison for non-victim crime using a habeas corpus structure that we have been prolific in exemplifying, you are still then released into category D prison conditions only of your mind. It does not exist. It's time, people, now for you to restore your rights, not for you to claim that somebody has removed them from you. How you do this, you take the right of use that you have, such as your property, and you use that, you peacefully surrender the collateral. You take the legal fiction to Downing Street, to the police station, you surrender it. I've been committing fraud. Who have you been committing fraud against? My soul. How have you been doing that? I've been using this piece of paper that says at the bottom of the birth certificate not to be used for ID. It's got a Crown copyright on there. And I've been using it without a right of use. And that's why you've been prosecuting me, because I have assigned my consent to accept that I am a Vatican debt slave all of my life. I've abandoned my children into the system and now stand there scratching my head wondering why I have a problem with the social services. I have granted and assigned away my rights and responsibility, and I am severing now the presumption of any obligation, of any contract that I entered into unknowingly. And there is step one for you to begin to complete this wonderful process of you leaving the Platanos' cave of your own mind. We look forward to seeing you on the other side.